Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to talk about scaling your objects. And the easiest and fastest way to do that in Blender is just click on your object, make sure you're in object mode, hey, and then hit S on the keyboard, and that will initiate the scale transformation operation. And that, notice as there's that little black dotted line. So the closer I get to there, I couldn't even invert it on accident. Sometimes you may do that. That's okay. Another cool tip, you can always just hit escape. So, hey, no, bad command. I don't want to do that. That's how you would clear that. One very, very useful tip. So listen up, kids. If you're hitting scale or if you're hitting S and your mouse is very close to this little orange origin point, like say if I hit S right here, it's like really hard to control it. It's like, oh no, what's happening? Just hit escape. Make sure anytime you use the S tip, I wish somebody would have told me this when I was first starting Blender. That's why I'm going into this, if you're going to scale something, just swing wide, people. Just swing way over here, like S right here, so you have a lot of control and can like really get super tiny if you need to. So, swing wide with your scales. That's all I have advice for today. But that's how you would scale objects. The same thing applies like in the other videos. If you hit S and then X, you have you can just scale on the x-axis. While that's still open, you can hit Y, and that will stretch on the y-axis. So everybody go ahead and try and just stretch Suzanne out like that. And you can even do it on the Z and stretch out the Z. And I'm just going to hit escape to cancel all that. But that's how you quickly scale things in Blender. One thing that you will hear a lot about scale inside of Blender is that you always want to keep your scale. I think of it as like a scale ratio. You want to keep your scale ratio at 1. So say if you've like scaled your monkey down just here, notice that since we scaled it down, the ratio went from 1 to less than 1. And this can do a lot of weird things when we start adding effects to our designs. Like say if we wanted something to be 1 millimeter, it wouldn't actually read correctly because our scale would be messed up. So in Blender, there's an easy way to fix that. I know that sounds kind of like I'm building up to this scary thing, but an easy way to fix your scale is just do Control A in object mode, and then we want to select scale, and bloop, that will just fix it. So if you ever run into that and you're like, why is my effects acting weird? First thing you can usually check is that. But hopefully if you're paying close attention to our lessons, we're going to try to avoid that and show you how to design in certain ways that this just always stays at 1. And that's what we want, people. So that is one way that I scale. The kind of slower way to scale is to click on the scale tool, and then you can, click on these little squares here and scale. Same thing goes, there's these little tiles that are kind of hovering right here. You can click on those and scale in certain directions. If there's ways you want to kind of skew things, like if you just want it to cover the floor, let me zoom out here. You could stretch Suzanne across the floor. So that's what all these will do. And just like the other ones that we've done in the past, if you hit Alt S, that will clear the scale. So that will just reset any scale that has happened if you messed up anything. So now you should be back to, I know we've done a lot of moving and rotating and scaling on Suzanne, but see if you can get your Suzanne back to this monkey here. We want it to be actually 50 millimeters tall. So I'm just going to hit S, and let's scale it up till the Z is roughly 50 millimeters there. And I'm just going to hold shift and just barely get it in. So we got 50 right there. So now notice I've messed it all up, but that was just to show you really quickly. Okay, I want this to be 50, but my scale's all messed up. So an easy way to fix it, class, Control A, scale, boom. Now it's fixed. And we got our 50 millimeters. That's what we want. We want to be able to, quickly see what we're working with and then be able to reset the scale. That's the challenge for this video. If you can remember, scale ratios need to always be at 1, then you're going to be very good at designing in Blender. And let's go ahead and jump into the next lesson where we are talking about the transform tool.